Okay. I gotta fluff the hair. I don't want to talk about the fact that I cut my hair. Okay, let's just not talk about it. Guys, I wrote a book and it's getting published, which still feels like a dream to say out loud. If you have been following along for a while, back in January, my content editor very lovingly and professionally ripped my book to shreds. And since then, it has gone through a lot of different stages, but watch that content video right here. If you haven't yet, it's a good one. I have a mental breakdown a little bit. Oh, you see, I go through a mental decline. But today I wanted to walk you through what happens next in the publishing process after a content editor, and specifically in the hybrid publishing process. And if you don't know what hybrid publishing is, watch this video right here for the differences between traditional self-publishing and hybrid publishing. It is a good video. Who knew that there was more than 2 ways to publish a book now? Anywho, I'm gonna show you what the next steps in the process of publishing a book looks like. It gets very real, very fast. So the next step after content edits is a copy editor. And this is where things kind of get technical, but it was a breeze compared to content editing. Whew. Oh my gosh, I was prepared for another stressful situation, but this was so easy compared to the content editing. My manuscript was edited using what's called the Chicago Manual of Style. It's basically the rulebook for writing and publishing. It covers things like punctuation, grammar, dialogue formatting, action beats, capitalization, you name it. All the tiny details that make a book look professional rather than it just looking like you type something up real quick and then hit upload at 2 a.m. I actually remember using the Chicago Manual of Style in college, which was a very long time ago. So it's been around for a while. So during this phase, I had to go through and review, accept, or question all of the edits that the copy editor had made. And one thing that I learned, which was quite nice, was if you approve of an edit that is made, you just leave it. You don't touch it, you don't comment on it, you don't do anything, you just leave it. It's great. I don't have to overthink it. We also worked through things like the dialogue tags and the action beats, which if you're a writer, you know it can get weirdly confusing, or at least for me. I understand he said that needs a comma, that's a dialogue tag, so it needs a comma. Action beats, they need a period. But it is so hard for my silly little brain to figure out what specifically is an action beat and what is a dialogue tag. I talk about that in my content edit video a lot. It was riddled through my entire book. I treated every single action beat like a dialogue tag, and I had to change every single one. It was crazy. Now I know about the Chicago Manual of Style. I have a rule book to go off of and check my work, which was so helpful. What was also very helpful was writing down, as I was going through my book, I was writing down, okay, they didn't make a note on that one, so that must be an action beat, that must be a dialogue tag. So I was actually writing down a list of all the of the action beats and all the dialogue tags. So they also fact-checked parts of my book, which was great. Didn't even ask them to do that, and they did. The senior editor went through, and for example, I had to make a change to a music video reference. My protagonist is watching a specific music video, and I mention it by name. For the life of me, I thought I did my own research, but she said actually the music video didn't come out until months after my book took place. So I can't use that music video reference. I need to find a different one. So that was great. You don't want any embarrassing inaccuracies in your story. But what I think, if I remember correctly, what happened was, I think the song came out before my book took place, but the music video didn't come out until after the book took place. I think when I started doing my own fact checking on it, I believe that's how it went. So, but anyway, it was inaccurate, and now I'm learning how to be hyper aware of my stuff that I put in my book. And then there were several comma errors. I found about 25 places, and I tried to back it up with the Chicago Manual of Style. And a lot of it was the action beats and the dialogue tags that were kind of snuck throughout the book. Those are tricky. I don't know if I was right or correct on all of my 25 finds, but I did make a note and put a little question mark just in case. And if they approved of them, or if I was correct, I'm sure they would make the correction and then move on. So at this time, I have had a content editor, a copy editor, and the copy editor. So I've had 3 professional people look at my book, including myself. I'm not a professional, but including myself. Although it was meticulous to go through my book, it didn't take as long as I thought it would. She gave me 5 days to go through the book and find all the edits and errors, but it only took me 24 hours to do this. So very, very quick. Okay, next up we have endorsements, which was a journey. Definitely watch that video right here where I show you my process of how I found endorsements, examples from emails that I sent out, and an example of a rejection that I got. By early February, I had sent out 20 endorsement requests. I had received about half responses back, which were all rejections, and the other half, they never responded, which is totally normal in this industry. These authors have major deadlines, and sometimes they're just too busy to respond. And they probably get blurb requests all the time. So it's just, don't be discouraged if you don't hear anything back. So I followed up with the senior editor, and I asked her if I needed to send out any more. I also raised a concern about sending out more because there would definitely be a time crunch for whoever was going to potentially read it. My endorsements needed to be in by February 1st, which gave whoever was going to read it 2 months, and that just didn't seem like enough time, in my personal opinion. She agreed with me and said that I did not need to send out any more, and she actually said that she was going to reach out with several authors that she had worked with in the past and see if they would be willing to read my book and give me an endorsement. And she found 3 people. 3 people read my book, and they said the most kindest, generous things, and they're like award-winning authors. Like real professional human beings. So I cried. I cried a lot. And then I thought, oh no, which version did the authors read? Did they read my before version, or did they read the polished version that my content editor helped me with? We'll never know. So now we're moving on to the typesetting and formatting phase, which is when your Word document is turned into a beautifully formatted book. It looks like a real book. My senior editor sent me sample pages of the first maybe 7 or so pages of my book. It was very surreal. Those were my words, beautifully formatted. It was great. I sent it to my family, my friends. I needed opinions and I wanted their first reactions. And my mom, who has read more books than I think is humanly possible, seriously, she's turned her guest bedroom into a library. She said that it looked very professional. She said that she has read very poorly formatted books before, and this did not look like a poorly formatted book. So, okay, next comes another very important part, and it's very tedious. This is the full book proofreading stage. Now it is to be professionally proofread by a proofreader, the entire book. It is also being proofread by the senior editor and myself. That's 3 people. After she had sent me the sample pages and I reviewed them and approved them, a few days later, she sent me the full book to proofread. And she asked me to go through it very carefully and make sure there were no grammatical or formatting issues in the manuscript. And she's very much stressed this is not a time to refine your book anymore, to change any sentences, to do any more rewrites or refinements. None of that. None of the, oh, I'm just gonna like tweak this sentence right here or here. Nope. This is only for grammatical errors and formatting issues time. Your book should be at this stage completely polished. I was given about 2 weeks to complete this, and I was able to do this in about 5 days. I was also asked to use Adobe Acrobat Reader, which thankfully I already had as well. It was a little bit of a learning curve because I had been so familiar with Microsoft Word and had been working in Microsoft Word this entire time, but she gave me very clear and concise directions on how to highlight something, use the pop-up highlight selected thing, and then make a comment off to the side. So during this proofreading time, I found things like some formatting issues where when you're formatting something, sometimes we have to scrunch the lines closer together and a line can get kicked down to a new paragraph. And I found that about 3 times throughout my book where a line that needed to be up here was kicked down to a new paragraph. So I highlighted it and said it needs to be back up here. There were a few spots where I double and triple checked with the Chicago Manual of Style. An example is that I had the phrase, or the word, I had the word all right throughout my entire manuscript, but the Chicago Manual of Style prefers this spelling of all right. And so I made a note on every single one. And the reason that the editor hadn't changed it was because she said that I had been consistent with the spelling all throughout. I wasn't going back and forth, so she just left it. But I said that I would prefer to go with the Chicago Manual of Style since that's what we're doing. Let's just go ahead and change it. It should be an easy change. They also asked me to clean up a few areas where I used very, very mild language. Which was fine. I was fine. We can change it. They wanted it cleaner. Now, there was one section that I asked I needed to refine. I so needed to refine. And I don't know how I missed this in all of the times of editing that we have done. How I missed this, no clue. I had on one page, I had the phrase, she was pulled out of her thoughts 3 times in various ways on one page. Like, how many times can someone be pulled out of their thoughts in the span of 5 minutes? So I was like, how did I miss this? So I made a note off to the side. I explained, I highlighted each one, and I said, oh my gosh, this is repetitive. I don't know how I missed this. Can we tweak it just a little bit? It won't mess up the formatting if we do this. And I wrote like what to say instead. I assumed she changed it. Fingers crossed she did. And this just goes to show you that you need to have so many people, outside people, looking at your book, and you have to go through your book a gazillion times because things pop up every single time that you missed previously. Also, using the read aloud feature is so important, and Adobe Acrobat had a read aloud feature, which was so nice. I have listened to my book probably about 5 or 6 times now, and every single time I'm finding an error or hearing an error. Example, there was someone says, "It sure would," in my book. And when listening to my story back to me, the robot voice said, "It sure it would." There was an extra "it" in there for some reason, and I am 100% sure I would have just glossed over that and would have missed it. So I'm very glad that I listened and I heard it, and so I made a note for them to delete that little extra "it." So if you are writing or editing your story, listen to it as well, please. Okay, and then lastly we have KDP. I was asked to set this up. I watched this video right here. I'll also link it down below. It was very straight to the point, clear, concise, easy to follow. The only hiccup was I have a personal Amazon account and I was setting up a separate Amazon KDP account with a separate email. The problem was I was trying to use the same phone number and Amazon does not like that. And I tried to set up a Google number and I couldn't figure it out. I suck at technology and stuff. So the solution that I wound up doing was just putting my husband's phone number on our personal account, and then I was just easily able to use my phone number for the KDP account. That worked out great. You are going to fill out your identity, your bank information, your tax information. You are going to verify your identity several times. It was It's like 5 or 6 times. They're like, who are you? Identify yourself. I'm like, ah. And since I am working with a hybrid publishing company, I gave her my login information so that she can upload all of the information about my book for when pre-orders go live and all that good stuff. So I did not have to upload my book myself. So that was really nice. But this is happening. This is crazy. This is where we're currently at. Just kidding. We're actually at this stage now. I can't believe I am holding a physical copy of my book. I'm currently supposed to take 3 days to read through the print proof of my book and see if there's any errors again, and then let them know. I can't believe I'm holding my book. That is so crazy to me. It is so wild to me how I went from an idea that I had. I remember specifically coming up with this idea, talking to my husband about it, writing it in this book in 3 months, and then now I'm holding it. That is so, that's just wild. But the next big concern is going to be marketing and writing the script for the video. So definitely stay tuned for that if you're interested in learning about marketing and how to market your book. If you are in the process of writing, editing, thinking about publishing your book, hopefully this series has been helpful and educational to some degree. At least it's giving you an idea of what to expect. And that's all I want. Sometimes it's detailed, sometimes it's overwhelming at times, but just the payoff is amazing to be able to hold your book in your hand. It's crazy. So if you want to continue following along with this journey, make sure that you are subscribed. I think my next video, it's time. I'm going to do a cover reveal, a whole book cover reveal. We're going to talk about the cover design process, beginning, middle, and end. It's going to be great. And then I think the next one, we're going to talk about the marketing process. Wish me luck. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Toodles. If you've been, but you're going to see how this, so we're going to talk about the thing beautifully formatted. Dang it. Now it has been